If you want to survive in Anno 1.17, you're going to need to manage many productions. But don't worry, the game provides you with a way to do it easily. This is what is called a production statistic menu, or control queue. Actually, that was first introduced in Anno 1800, but now we have the same. You can access it in multiple ways. The easiest one is over here. You click on, the face of your governor. You can also do control Q and you will access it the same. This will show you this menu over here, where on the left side, you will see all of your different islands. In the middle, you will see all of your productions. And when you click on any of the production, you will see some more details. I'm gonna explain it all. It may seem complex, but again, I guarantee you with this, you're gonna be able to manage easily your whole empire. To make it simple, you want all of these to be in the green. You want the green here to be above the white, or you want this number here to be in the green. So for example, this number here is red, not good. So let me explain a bit further. Like I said, this is, your islands. So right now we've selected one island. In the future, we can also select multiple. I'll show you how. But first, let's talk about these productions over here. So what is this? Well, here you will find every single production that is happening in this specific island or that is needed in this specific island. And if I go into a different one, it may be none. Like in this island there, I have nothing, so there's none. In this island here, it's gonna be different ones, right? Depending on the island. But these are all of the productions relevant for the island you've selected. Then at the top here, you're gonna have a couple of filters. Right now we are on all goods, so we can see all of the goods relevant for this island. Then you're gonna have the consumer good. This is what your people want to eat, want to consume, right? So this is kind of really important for your population. Then you have your construction materials. This tends to be a bit less important, but this is what you need to actually build your island further or your army further. Then you have the raw materials. This tends to be things that come from the mines. You have the agricultural goods. This tends to be your raw materials to start making food, but this is not the food itself. It's more like the raw material to make the food. And lastly, you have the intermediate goods. This is usually what's in between the raw and the finished. So for example, if we take the bread production, the bread production will start with wheat, and the wheat will be transformed into flour, which is over here, and the flour will be transformed into bread, which is over there. And by the way, so with this, you can filter for specific items, but you can also search over here. So, I can say bread, and why can't I find it? Because I am in agricultural goods. But if I do this, I will find the bread. So this is just for you to be able to filter a couple of things. Then let's select a specific resource like oats. So what are the different numbers? The first one is the supply. It's your production, right? We can see we're producing 8. I'll explain the 8 out of 8, but let's focus first on the fact that this is your supply. This is your production versus the white. This is your demand. This is what is requested. It can be requested by your people or it can be requested by other buildings. So what you want is obviously the supply to be higher than the demand, right? You want to produce more than what's needed, or at least exactly the same, but not less. So you want the green to be further than the white. And if you do this, you will see a number here that is positive, that is green. So that is good. If you are over here, the green is obviously 0, so it's not good. It's lower than the white, and therefore we are in the red. That is not good. And this will lead me, by the way, to my first tip, is what I suggest when you start, you have a problem on an island, or you want to check if your island is okay, you're clicking here. Don't try to go over like this one by one and see what's happening. Just click on this button here. It will sort by production, starting with all of the negatives, or if you want all of the positive. But to be honest, I think what's important is the negatives, right? Because you don't want negatives. So you sort by the negatives, and then these are the ones you need to do something for, right? So that's the kind of the first tip. Now let's go a bit more into some other details. So like I said, this is your production, your consumption. This is kind of the difference between the two. Here you're gonna have a number, which is your productivity. You want this to be at 100% or above. When it is above, it's usually when you have a bonus coming from items or from the gods, but it's good to be above 100%. When you're below 100%, usually there is a problem. We'll talk about this in a second. And last but not least, over here you have the profit. So some of your productions will actually give you a lot of profit, others will actually cost you. Now the reality is, I don't think this is that much and that important, because you don't really control this. You know, some productions will provide a lot of money when they're consumed, others will provide less. So you can look at it if you want, but this is a bit advanced. I don't think, you know, you need this. You should focus a lot more on all of the other things here. And then lastly, as I said, when you click on run resource, you will see some details there. This is basically the same information we just looked at. The green is your production, the white is your consumption, but this is over time. So this is kind of today, or 2 minutes ago to be precise. This is like 32 minutes ago, 62 minutes ago, 92 minutes ago, right? So you can also see if you have, for example, a low production right now, is it just a temporary problem, or is it always a problem? Or is it a recent problem, right? And sometimes, I don't have a perfect example here, I think, but sometimes what you can see is kind of things going up and down, and that can be very telling. And then last but not least, you have over here buildings. This is showing you all of the buildings that are producing said resource. And this is in particular really important if you have a production, let me just do this, that is not at 100%, like this one, right? So this one is not at 100%, that's 68, and actually you can see it was moving. And then we look at it and we can see, okay, one of them is at 100%, it's working fine. One of them has 96, so it seems to be working okay, but not perfect. But this one is at 5%, it's actually not working well at all. So then you can click on this and it will bring you to that production, and you can see what the problem is. Sometimes it can be a problem that, you know, you don't have enough input, like here, it's basically saying I don't have enough of this input for the production to work. Or sometimes it's gonna be, for example, for your wood cutter, right? It can be that there's not enough trees around, so it's not working enough. Or you have not put enough field, you know, like in one of your farm, like this one. This is actually an interesting example because I do have some bonuses, but let's take this one here, all right? So right now it's working on 100% because I have 3 of the sheep field. Let's assume one of them was destroyed by a fire, or maybe I just forgot to build it, right? Now it's not gonna work at 100%. It's gonna slowly but surely decrease. You will see this decreasing because we only have 1, right? It's gonna go all the way down to 33% to be precise. So anytime you see, you know, one of the production that is not at 100% here, you know you have a problem, and you can click on it, click on building to try to find. I mean, in this case it's easy, we have no building producing it, so that's why we're at 0%. But especially when you're at 60 or something, and you know, you can see it over here going up and down, right? Now it may sound obvious, but still I'm gonna spend 2 minutes saying what should you do if you see that your production is not as high as your consumption. Well, first you need to understand what the problem is. Is the problem that you don't produce enough, or is the problem that you don't have enough things to produce it, right? These are kind of the 2 major problems. So what do I mean by this? Well, first, you check your number of buildings. If you have one or multiple buildings that are working 100%, but you're still not producing enough, then that means you don't have enough of those buildings. This is the case over here, right? We have only 1 olive oil press, it's working 100%, so we know we have enough, you know, input, and we have enough workforce. The building is working well, but we're still not making enough. So that means we just need another one. So in this case, or multiple other ones, what I suggest is, you know, you just click on it, and then you're gonna copy this building and place it somewhere else, right? Now my production, you're gonna see, is going to increase. Now, why is it saying 1 out of 2? This is because I can actually, in the green, I'm talking about the green bar, it's saying 1 out of 2 because I can actually produce 2. In a perfect world, I'll be able to produce 2. But right now I'm only producing 1 because one of them is not working. Why? Because we just built it. It's gonna take a second for, you know, the materials, here it is, they're coming to be delivered. once they are delivered, now this is starting, right? And so now if we go back to it, it's 2 out of 2. All right, so that is the first problem, right? There was not enough of the production, so we added one more building, now we have enough. The second is more like the toga that we were just looking at before, right? I could actually produce 3 if they were working on 100%, but right now I'm only producing 2, and therefore I don't have enough. Why? Because if we look over here, some of the buildings are not working on 100%. And it's not working on 100% because we're missing inputs, right? In this case, especially this Tyrian purple, it seems. So then, you need to check, okay, this Tyrian purple, this is the same kind of problem, right? Where it says, actually, we're just producing just enough, it seems, but like you look over here too, you can see one of them doesn't seem to be working. One of them is only working at 98, right? So we're gonna need to check that out. It is basically probably a similar problem where it is not always working because we don't have enough of the input. So we go to the Murex and we can check the same. Okay, and it is. We found the actual problem. The actual problem is we need 4 of these Murex nails. We're only producing 3. So we get back here, we see they're all producing, at 100%. So that means we have enough workforce. They have enough of what they need to be producing. We just don't have enough of those buildings. So we're gonna do the same and add one somewhere else where we have space. Oh, I don't have space here. Where are we there? Right, so I'm gonna place it here, and now we're gonna check it. Okay, we're 4 out of 4. If you want, you may want to put just one more to be just above, but 4 out of 4 will be fine. It's just gonna take time for the chain to stabilize. It's not gonna be instantaneous because all of the production have a timer to it. So this one will only produce, something in 1 minute and 30 seconds. So before that, the chain is still broken, right? But yes, this is how you fix your city. You check your production tab over here. You're able to see all of the chains that have a problem, and one by one you fix them by looking at what is the problem. Do we have enough buildings? Are the buildings working? If they don't have enough resource, you check the resource, right, and you add more. For example, here probably need to add a sheep farm, right? Because we destroyed one of them, making it only 33%. Then last point I want to cover is you don't have to focus only on one island, especially when you start trading with between islands. You're gonna need to select multiple. To select multiple, you can do Control Shift and click on the second island. And now it is going to actually merge the production and the consumption of the islands that you've selected. So for example, for the sheep farm, right now we have way more sheep farms. Some of them are on Nova Roma, the first island. Some of them are on Silvanium, a second island. So you can also just click on whichever is the problem. But the concept is the same, right? You're gonna want to have more production than consumption overall. Don't hesitate to tell me if you have any questions about what I've covered, this production statistic menu. I have a lot of video on ANNO 117 on my channel, also Let's Play, so don't hesitate to check that out. But yeah, do tell me also if there's any other guides you want me to create and share with you all. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time.